Welcome to Mwaki Insights. Imagine one of the world's most valuable companies walking a geopolitical tightrope, balancing between the world's two biggest economies, where one wrong step could send the entire tech industry reeling. ASML, the Dutch semiconductor giant, is at the heart of a heated global tug-of-war over the future of chip technology. But what's really at stake here? And could ASML actually lose China, the fastest-growing chip market, in the process? The global technology landscape is being redrawn. At the heart of this transformation is a tiny device, the semiconductor. These chips power everything from our smartphones and laptops to advanced artificial intelligence systems and military hardware. And in this high-stakes game of technological dominance, one company stands out, ASML. Based in the Netherlands, ASML holds a unique position in the semiconductor industry. They are the world's leading provider of extreme ultraviolet lithography machines, or EUV machines. This technology is essential for manufacturing the most advanced chips, the ones that power the latest gadgets and drive technological innovation. However, ASML's position is not without its challenges. The company finds itself caught in the crosshairs of a geopolitical struggle between the United States and China. This is a battle for technological supremacy, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The US has imposed strict trade restrictions on China, particularly in the semiconductor sector. This is driven by fears that China's technological advancements, particularly in areas like artificial intelligence and military technology, could pose a threat to US global leadership. ASML's EUV machines are critical because they enable the production of chips with transistors as small as 5 nanometers, a key factor in the performance of cutting-edge technology. With a market share of over 80% in the EUV lithography sector, ASML's financial performance has been robust, with revenues reaching €14 billion in 2020. The company's continuous investment in research and development, amounting to nearly €2 billion annually, ensures it remains at the forefront of semiconductor technology. Yet, the global semiconductor supply chain is complex and interdependent, making ASML's role even more pivotal in the ongoing tech tug-of-war. ASML is a Dutch company, but its business is truly global. The United States and China are two of its biggest markets, accounting for over 60% of its revenue. This puts ASML in an incredibly delicate position. To thrive, it must navigate the complex web of geopolitical tensions while trying to maintain good relationships with both superpowers. The US government has been pressuring ASML to limit its business with China, particularly when it comes to selling its most advanced EUV lithography machines. These machines are seen as crucial for China's ambition to become self-sufficient in semiconductor manufacturing. China, on the other hand, is a massive and growing market for semiconductors, with its semiconductor market valued at over $150 billion in 2020. Losing access to this market would be a significant blow to ASML's bottom line, potentially reducing its annual revenue by billions. Furthermore, China is investing heavily in developing its own domestic semiconductor industry, with plans to invest $1.4 trillion in technology by 2025. If ASML is completely cut off from the Chinese market, there is a risk that Chinese companies could eventually catch up and potentially even surpass ASML's technological edge. This situation presents a major strategic dilemma for ASML. The company must weigh the short-term economic benefits of doing business with China against the potential long-term risks of alienating the United States. It's a high-wire act with no easy answers. To understand the US perspective, it's essential to recognize the growing importance of semiconductors in the 21st century. These tiny chips are no longer just components of consumer electronics. They are the building blocks of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and next-generation weapons systems. The US government sees maintaining a technological edge in semiconductors as crucial for national security. The concern is that if China gains access to the most advanced chip-making equipment, it could fuel the development of technologies that could challenge US military superiority. Furthermore, the US is wary of China's ambitions to dominate key industries of the future. China has made it clear that it intends to become a global leader in areas like artificial intelligence, 5G telecommunications, and quantum computing. All of these technologies rely heavily on advanced semiconductors. The US government believes that by restricting China's access to the most advanced chip-making technology, it can slow down China's progress in these strategic sectors. This is seen as essential for protecting US economic interests and national security. Beijing's ambitions, China's quest for semiconductor self-sufficiency, and the role of ASML. From China's perspective, the US trade restrictions are an attempt to stifle its economic rise and maintain technological dominance. China has become heavily reliant on foreign companies, particularly those in the US, for advanced semiconductors. This dependence is seen as a strategic vulnerability. In response, China has embarked on an ambitious plan to achieve self-sufficiency in semiconductor manufacturing. The goal is to build a domestic chip industry that can meet China's growing needs without relying on foreign suppliers. This involves massive investments in research and development, talent acquisition, and the construction of new fabrication plants. ASML's technology is seen as essential for China's semiconductor ambitions. Without access to ASML's EUV machines, China's ability to produce the most advanced chips will be severely limited. This could hinder its progress in areas like artificial intelligence and supercomputing. China is acutely aware of the strategic importance of semiconductors. The government is providing significant financial support and creating favorable policies to nurture its domestic chip industry. The goal is to catch up with, and eventually surpass, the West in this critical technology. For instance, China has allocated over $150 billion in funding to boost its semiconductor industry by 2030. Companies like SMIC are at the forefront, aiming to reduce the technology gap with global leaders. ASML's EUV lithography machines are crucial, as they enable the production of chips with smaller nodes, essential for advanced applications. Collaboration between universities, research institutions, and tech startups is also a key part of China's strategy. With these efforts, China aims to achieve 70% self-sufficiency in semiconductors by 2025, a significant leap from its current 16%. The global stakes are high, as China's success could reshape the semiconductor landscape and alter global trade dynamics. Caught in the crossfire. How US trade restrictions are impacting ASML's China business. The US trade restrictions on China have placed ASML in a difficult position. The company has been barred from shipping its most advanced EUV lithography machines to Chinese customers, significantly impacting its business. China was on track to become ASML's largest market before the restrictions were imposed, with projections indicating a potential 20% annual growth in semiconductor demand. The loss of this market has had a noticeable impact on the company's revenue, with a reported 15% decline in quarterly earnings since the restrictions took effect. Although ASML still maintains a presence in China by selling less advanced lithography equipment, the inability to sell its most cutting-edge technology limits its growth potential in this crucial market. For instance, the sales of DUV machines, which are less advanced than EUV, have not been able to compensate for the loss. The situation is further complicated by the fact that many of the components used in ASML's machines come from US suppliers, accounting for approximately 30% of their supply chain. This means that even if ASML wanted to circumvent US restrictions, it would be extremely difficult to do so without jeopardizing its supply chain. The US trade restrictions have effectively forced ASML to choose sides in the technology rivalry between the US and China. While the company is trying to maintain a neutral stance and continue doing business with both countries, the reality is that it is being pressured to align more closely with the US, as evidenced by recent statements from ASML's CEO emphasizing compliance with US regulations. The CEO's dilemma: balancing shareholder value with geopolitical realities. ASML's CEO Peter Wennink faces an unenviable task. He must balance the interests of his shareholders, who want to see the company maximize profits, with the geopolitical realities of operating in a world increasingly divided by the US China rivalry. On the one hand, China represents a lucrative market for ASML, accounting for nearly 15% of its revenue in 2022. The demand for semiconductors in China is only going to increase in the coming years as the country continues to develop its technological capabilities. Losing access to this market would be a significant financial blow, potentially reducing ASML's annual revenue by billions. On the other hand, ASML cannot afford to ignore the concerns of the US government, which has imposed strict export controls on advanced technology. The US is a key ally of the Netherlands, and ASML relies on US suppliers for critical components, such as advanced lithography systems. Angering the US could have serious consequences for the company's long-term prospects, including potential sanctions and loss of access to essential technology. This dilemma highlights the complexities of doing business in a world where technology is increasingly intertwined with geopolitics. Companies like ASML are caught in the middle, forced to make difficult decisions that could have far-reaching implications for their own future and the future of the global technology landscape. For instance, in 2021, ASML had to navigate US pressure to limit sales of its most advanced machines to China, balancing between compliance and market demand. Retaliation and ripples. China's potential response and the threat to global supply chains. The US restrictions have not gone unnoticed in Beijing. China sees these actions as an attempt to contain its rise as a technological power. While China is actively working to build its own domestic semiconductor industry, it is still years away from achieving self-sufficiency. As of 2021, China produced only 16% of the semiconductors it consumed. In the meantime, China has a few options for retaliation. One possibility is to impose tariffs or other trade barriers on US goods and services. For instance, in 2018, China imposed tariffs on $60 billion worth of US goods in response to US tariffs. This could harm American companies operating in China and potentially lead to a trade war. Companies like Apple and Tesla, which have significant operations in China, could be particularly vulnerable. Another option is for China to target companies like ASML that are complying with US restrictions. This could involve boycotts, investigations, or even the seizure of assets. In 2020, China threatened to put US companies on an unreliable entity list, which could lead to similar actions. Such actions would send a strong message that China is willing to defend its interests, even if it means inflicting pain on companies from other countries. Perhaps the most concerning possibility is that China could respond by restricting the export of rare earth minerals. China controls about 80% of the global supply of these minerals. These minerals are essential for the production of many high-tech products, including semiconductors, electric vehicles, and military equipment. Any of these actions could disrupt the global semiconductor supply chain, leading to shortages and price hikes. In 2010, China temporarily cut off rare earth exports to Japan, causing significant disruptions. This would have ripple effects throughout the global economy, affecting everything from smartphones and cars to medical devices and military equipment. The global semiconductor market was valued at $439 billion in 2020, highlighting the potential scale of the impact. The ASML story goes beyond one company. It's about the global race for tech dominance. Will ASML be forced out of China, or can it keep threading this precarious needle? And as the world increasingly picks sides in the tech landscape, what will it mean for the devices we use daily, from smartphones to self-driving cars? Thank you for watching, and if this deep dive into the chip wars left you with more questions than answers, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you know someone interested in the latest on the tech wars, share this video with them. Let's keep this conversation going. What do you think will happen next for ASML? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights right here on Milwaukee Insights.